I believe we're live now. Are we live?
Let me check the YouTube. All right, live stream is starting. Okay, it's
No one is
on
here
YouTube.
yet. Just a second.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the first ever Team Rasbell podcast. I am here with ChroniCraziness, Darkmidnight, and Anikuro. And as per usual, I am Hallowed Grave. Oh my god, that sounds horrible.
Oh, wait.
today-
Let me take a
Cronny,
poll,
no. Cronny, no. Cronny, no, it's done with. The podcast is
Okay.
live. We've already done this. Anyway, we're doing a Q&A today. We thought to try to start with something easy. This has not been easy by any means at all. Please help. They're holding me hostage and forcing me to be their secretary.
Oh, no, we're not.
You brought this on
Anyway,
yourself, man.
We are going to be
Hi.
answering some questions.
Hi, look, we have our first viewer, Johnny.
Yeah, no, Johnny is here as per usual. Anyway, we will be answering questions that have been posed from our Discord server, and any that pop up in chat, I will read off and we will answer. So, let's get to it, I suppose. First question from the podcast Q&A channel. Why did Lucian have a 94% pick/ban rate at Worlds? Do we have an answer for that?
I mean, I kind of have an answer for it. I mean, for playing Illusions a lot, like, you know, Illusions are a diverse, like, he's a real diverse champion, and with this newer update, it just kind of, made him
in Worlds.
In Worlds? Well, no, still, like, within League, like, we're going with the concept of League here, right?
No. The question is, why did Lucian have a 94% pick/ban rate at Worlds?
So
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying here. Since, you know, World ties in with League and everything, still, it's still the same thing as League. We've always known that Lucians have more of a diverse. He has like a diverse kit essentially, and he can put off a great amount of damage within just a few seconds over the time of the game. So, like, if anything, I can understand why Lucians are banned. Because sometimes it's like you can either hit or you can miss your skill shots on a Lucian. But it's very hard to, because you know how his dash is? Like, it's just...
Lucian's World's ban rate, I think, might also be from the fact that Lucian is one of the champions that you cannot know about the existence of for, like, the entirety of the game. You can just kind of ignore him existing if he doesn't get any kills and it pops up from the announcer. And then all of a sudden, he dashes over the wall behind your turret in your lane, one-shots you with his entire combo, and then just pieces out.
Exactly. So, like,
and he has quite a bit of mobility along with his slows and such. So he's got some pretty good escape tools, and it's kind of difficult to catch up to him. So I guess he just isn't really wanted to be seen in a high competitive setting like Worlds.
Not to mention PTA is perfect for his ults.
Yeah. So, like,
shut up.
You know him, right?
But no, seriously, in all seriousness, that is true as well. Just like I said again, the diversity with his character, his whole kit, is just absolutely, I wouldn't say broken, but just makes him more diverse. Like, he's just can be used very universally in any lane, really. I don't see him much top, but being a Yasuo main in mid lane and seeing Lucian mid, it just makes my job harder as a Yasuo. But he just got so much mobility and so much he can do with just in a small amount of time, unlike any other champion.
Oh look, Malphite on Maokai bot lane.
Oh god, not this footage. Next question is from our own Grand Admiral, Anikro12. Why does everyone hate Seraphine? Well, I can name a few of the reasons. Do you want to hear them?
No, it's more like, why did everyone hate her before she even came out? And then when she came out, everyone hated her more. She's not bad.
I mean,
Well,
to be fair, Riot's ideas for champions are kind of becoming somewhat unimaginative, except for Lilia.
Their idea for
And
new champions are basically fix all the problems with an old champion and make
rather
it
than fixing them on the old champion, though, we're gonna fix them and make it into a new champion.
exactly.
So
And
those
see-
those old problems still exist. They just exist on a different level.
yeah, see now Johnny's saying like, I thought everyone liked her. Everyone did like her. Like every support / mage like approved of her at first. The reason why everybody started hating her was how her kit was and how she could be played as a support or a mid lane mage. As we know it as of now, what Riot did was like, there's just a lot of things going on with Riot itself. I mean, think about it. If you really break it down slowly, it's just more or less of the fact that Riot's making all these champions out of nowhere a little bit.
Ani,
And
I just realized
some
something.
collabs.
What?
Can we hear the music through the stream?
I don't know. I'm not watching it. That's why I told you guys to watch it. Ask Johnny. Johnny's watching it. Do you hear the music, Johnny?
We can hear it, but I want you to turn it up just a bit. Turn it up just a bit.
Okay.
No.
We need the music turned up just a bit.
Jill, yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Why is
Because I have
Connie
mine.
muted?
He's
Sorry,
probably doing
something.
something. Yeah, he's doing something.
Hollow is deafened.
No, don't worry. He's just doing something. That's the thing. He's just trying to hear the music within.
I
It's just-
went deaf so I could have the stream unmuted and not have any echo or feedback at all. Okay, sorry for interrupting you there, Dark. I just realized that might have
No,
been an
that's
issue
fine.
for our viewers.
Okay,
No,
it's fine.
for the
It's
record,
understandable.
guys, this music that you're hearing is from Rush Garcia.
And I did get permission from him to actually use it in all of our videos, so we
If you
can
guys want to check
expect
him
to hear a lot
out
more of him.
and check out his stuff,
He's in the
just-
description.
Yeah. Also, Cronny's in the description too. He's also.
Don't bother going there, though.
I'll be quiet.
Cronny
Always
Cronny
good.
streams more than just League stuff though. He plays like Fortnite and Overwatch and a lot of other interesting games. Games
Yeah.
that I am
Interesting.
very much terrible at, but you'll see more footage of that later.
Okay.
Okay.
But no,
so
but
kinda-
back to the
Yeah.
topic a little bit. So the reason why, like I said, like why everybody hates Seraphine is because she can zone a lot of people out. Like I've seen so many Seraphines so far beat Yasuo's, Akali's, and so forth. There's just so much diversity like within her kit as well that just makes her very, very unfair within the mid lane. She's got so much sustain with her W, and that echo ability, it just does so much to another enemy champion.
Cronny,
Like, I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
very, very diverse, and it just zones everybody out. Like, what can you do against a Seraphine?
let's hear
Like,
from
the
you.
best thing.
Why do you hate
Hello?
Seraphine as a Sona player?
I don't hate. Okay, I don't say hate Seraphine. I just hate the fact that Riot didn't get creative enough with her designs. Like they pretty much reworked Sona's kit, and just like put a lot of effort into making Seraphine popular. When like Sona's, like when she came out, she was more unique, and they didn't do the stuff they did for Sona. They didn't do the stuff they did for Seraphine for Sona. It's like you're just gonna like rework how Sona's ult works. You're gonna rework her Q, and just change up the W and E a little bit, but not even that much. But I think out of the W to E,
The Q is an eco. The Q is an eco Q. The root is definitely an eco root, and the W. The W is the only thing that's kind of similar to Sona's kit, aside from the ult. And even then, the ult is similar to other ults as well. I'm trying to think of an example here. If you think about it, it's kind
Oh
of
look,
like
we actually
a
just
bit
had
of a
some
Maokai
Seraphine
ult,
footage, guys.
but-
She died, but we had Seraphine on the screen for a bit.
Seraphine moves like
Yeah,
a
we did.
guy.
She died. Let's look
Okay,
at
okay,
the-
okay,
the
okay.
Seraphine. Okay, let's look at her here. What is she doing?
Ani has the stream paused, has his stream of the stuff paused for a
Do I
second.
really?
Well,
Damn it!
The Master using Yasuo.
yeah,
to
you
tear them apart.
you alt tabbed to rewind the footage.
Okay, look.
You
There's
dummy.
Seraphine. That was her W. What is she doing now? That was her alt. And that was her E.
Can we talk about how Malphite just changed the course of that fight?
Shush. I'm going to explain on the points of Seraphine's kit for Johnny and how they are kind of close to both Nico and Sona. So Seraphine's Q is basically just a dot that pulses, so it can deal damage twice with one ability. If it double casts, it casts the same thing twice. The way that it's like Nico's is it drops. Nico's thing pops multiple times. Nico Root is similar to Seraphine Root in that it's kind of just a straightforward thing that gets carried on by minions and or enemies. So if she shoots her E through minions, then it'll either, if she has single cast on, slow the enemy, or double cast on, it'll root the enemy, which is the same as a Nico root. Her W is similar to Sona because if she has single cast, it's a shield. If she has double cast, it is a heal. Sona has, I think, both a shield and a heal in her kit. And it's got a similar circular feel to it as Sona's. And then it is similar to Sona ult in that its range is extended by minions. The range of the E is extended by minions. It's very minuscule. Like, very minuscule. Her ult is much like a Sona ult in that it's a straight beam, a straight thin beam that CCs the enemy. For Seraphine, it's a charm that gets carried further by enemy or ally champions that are hit. And for Sona, it is just a straight up stun in a line that doesn't get carried further or anything.
So, like, let me add a little bit more light to this. Honestly, you're saying it's right, but like, her E doesn't carry on, like Julia said. Issa doesn't carry on at all. It's more of like her ult is the only thing that carries on. Her E is just very extended, which is a lot more than Sona's. And honestly, to me personally, I feel like Seraphine's kit is a little bit more unique than most. And again, I do agree with Connie a little bit that they should have done a little bit more, something a little bit more, surprising to us. But I mean, like, with all these newer champions and what Riot's coming out with, like, can you really blame them for what they're trying to do for a little bit? Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on. Like, I mean, we got new preseason 11 going on for us. And so far, from what me and my other friend have been taking a look through, all the items and everything in there just makes everything so playable in so many situations. Everything is a lot more situational. And it's just, who pairs well with somebody else? Like, the synergy between your team. Like,
But Riot made its name from making very unique champions and making everything...
Shush. Shush for a second. So, something else about Seraphine's E that I hadn't realized before. It actually combos well with Singed Grounded, because enemies that are grounded are also stunned.
Exactly. So that's my point. That's what I'm saying right now, is just like, it depends all on your team comp with Seraphine. But like, everybody hates Seraphine is because she can play very well. She can play like a Janna essentially, because that's what her W is when it echoes.
Yeah, no, that can very much be like a. She can be seen
and the other
as
thing
like
is that, and I think the one thing that
Seraphine is
everybody
on the
really.
screen again.
But what I really think about Seraphine, honestly, she's a really great champion. She's really strong. For me personally, I don't know how far she'll be taken within the elite kind of like settings. LCS, Pro League, however you want to put it. Like, I'm not even sure how all the newer players have been playing her, like the pro players have been like, experimenting with her or something like that. For me personally, I feel like she's strong, in my opinion, due to the fact that she's a very strong champion with the whole kit, her E, her Q, her W, and her R. Like,
and with how many supports have CC, it kind of just makes her E typically a root or a stun. It's not usually going to be just a slow, even if it's single cast.
Exactly. So like,
Not
again,
Not to mention there are some items that could actually add this slow effect, so she's almost never going to be slowing something. It'll be like Hollow said, always a root or a stunt. Why is there
Yeah.
TFT footage in this?
I don't know. That's
Because
your
it's-
job to take care of. But,
anyways,
okay.
Anyways,
That-
we're getting off topic a lot.
I mean, to be fair though, how much more Seraphine content do we want here?
No,
Because
well,
we
so,
could probably
like,
we could probably go on for hours on Seraphine.
Can we talk
We
about the
could.
fact that she came into the game with an ultimate skin that isn't really an ultimate skin, it's just 3 legendary skins.
essentially, but
We
then
can
again-
mention that, but we're not gonna go into detail on that.
Yeah, but like we can mention that really well, but like honestly,
Okay.
I don't know why, but it's just there. It's just how it is.
So- I'm going to go a little bit out of order. I'm putting my question before Joe's here. But, so Chrony posed the question, and this links to the one that I was talking about. Chrony posed the question, why are champions with mobility ults underrated yet overpowered at the same time?
I think I got an answer
I
for
think
that
we
one.
should first explain what we mean by mobility ults.
Mobility ults meaning
Got back in
like
time.
something such as Tom Kench ult, or Shen
Tom
ult,
Kench, Shen.
or Twisted
Galio.
Fate,
Fate.
Galio.
Twist-
I have
Um,
all the champions.
Shush.
Rise.
Are there? Okay, Rise does. I mean, at the same time though, Rise ult isn't really seen as part of his kit.
Well, I could give you a good explanation there
Pantheon.
for you. Yeah, see, I could give you a good
Pantheon.
explanation. Like, I can give you guys a good explanation for that question, right there.
Yeah.
So my explanation there is that it comes down to skill. Like, it's not just about hitting your skill. It's just, well, actually, it is about hitting your skill shots and such. But just like as it is now, with everything. Bless you, by the way. Well, for how it is with the mobility ults and such, it just comes down to skill and how you play it, how well your team sets you up. It just comes down to your knowledge of the game, depending on where you're laning at.
And also positioning is really
Exactly.
important, and those mobility ults can they can change your position, like
Mhm.
half the map length, some of them all of it.
Yeah,
And that's
and
huge.
They could
That
also
can be huge
drastically
in
alter
games.
the outcome of a fight,
So,
That's
timed
Yeah.
correctly.
especially like
So-
Tom Kench if you time it right.
Yeah, exactly.
so springboarding off of that question, why do we hate Chrony using champs with mobility ults?
I can
Why
sum
do
that
we-
up. I don't make the best decisions all the time. Like I tend to sometimes just like with Shen. Like sometimes I panic when
Chrony
I
is
think you guys are going.
basically trigger
I'm going to list an experience that I'm pretty sure most members of Rise have had. So
Yeah.
we're just chilling in our own lane. Chrony's playing Shen top. We're chilling in our own lane, and then all of a sudden we get this massive shield. We're probably missing like 10% of health just off of tanking minion wave. And we're not really in danger at all, because we're not getting engaged on. But all of a sudden we have this big shield on us, and we're glowing purple. And then Chrony appears in our lane, and we just ask ourselves, and him, why are you here? Because he didn't use that ult to come in and save someone or participate in a fight. He used that ult to just come say hi.
I mean, sometimes it's that, sometimes it's not. Like sometimes like you're in a fight and I think you're about to die, and like oh crap. Other times I just ult late, like the fight's already finished, and then I press out, then I press R. So
Sometimes the fight hasn't happened in 5 minutes, and you just ult back in, and you're actually in base at that point, because we're just about to leave base from coming back after the fight. That has happened before, Kron. Where you have ulted so late after a fight that everyone's already backed, and you basically used your ult to press B.
okay, I would not ult move your England base. It's just stupid. I've only done that once, and that was to escape from being chased by an entire enemy team. Like if I didn't press R, like that's the thing with Shen's ult. It's a 3-second teleport, which
Yes.
is actually pretty OP.
That can't be used on minions or towers, only on people.
Yeah.
Why can't I
Part of
get
the mechanics of giving a
chat
shield.
open?
Oh, what about does Aurelion Soul count at least as a mobility champ due to his E?
Yeah, he kind of dull. He could tie him in just a little bit, but I wouldn't say like it's fully
The
mobility.
question, Chrony doesn't play an even halfway decent Asol. So that's the question of why
I
do we
don't
hate Crony
play
using champs with
ASO a
mobility?
lot. That's the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure if I
Yeah,
got more,
no,
of
you
his
don't play him well.
mechanics-
If you got better at him, we would include him in here, because we'd also hate you playing with Asol, because you... nothing. But
and,
anyway, that we specified mobility ults, and it was Crony using them. Crony doesn't use Asol enough to really be counted as using him.
yeah. 'Cause, like,
So, I think that's pretty much all for that. We can move on to Joe's question, which should have been asked prior to mine, but mine was kind of package deal with Cronies. So, why is it so hard to learn how to play Assassin Champs after maiming a lane? I think he means maining, like, a bruiser, mage, or tank, or marksman. And I think he was having trouble learning how to replay Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai, which Rek'Sai isn't really a tank, isn't really an assassin.
Rek'Sai is no, but like Kha'Zix is like I understand where he's
Kha'Zix
coming from
is-
with that. Like, there's a lot of players
Yeah,
that play
no.
very assassin-like.
Playing,
But, like,
I mained Nunu, and then I moved into really hard maining Yi,
mhm.
and it was very different and very difficult to actually learn Yi's timings, because with Nunu you can kind of just, well, at least season 10 Nunu was just, you kind of just sat there and tanked through things, because you had a heal, and you built tanky, so you didn't take
Mhm.
damage all that much, and you had like a huge smite. With Yi, it's kind of, with assassins you have to learn how to kite a bit,
Mhm.
because you need your cooldowns for those jungle monsters.
Yeah.
Or if it's an assassin in lane like Zed, typically they have pretty high cooldowns with no way to reset them. It seems like most of the time. I can't speak about Zed a whole lot because I don't play him. I played him a bit, but it was different. But
Okay, I
just,
play Zed. Like, I mean, okay, here's the thing with Zeds. I play Zed. Okay, like I played Zed enough to actually say I play him.
can I
but,
finish?
Yeah, go for
Can
it.
I finish
sorry.
thought process real quick? So, just assassins in lane in general, if you just come out of playing like, say a bruiser or a tank, then you're expecting yourself to be a bit more resistant to damage, to chunking, than you are with an assassin or a mage. Coming from a mage into an assassin, you're not really expecting to have so little range. Because with mages, you've got relatively short cooldowns in later game, and you've got quite a bit of range with your spells.
laughs
With
and laughs.
assassins, you don't have a whole lot of range at all. Like, for example, Akali, she has her little dagger throw isn't that long range. Her like shuriken toss to let her pull, that's kind of range, but it's just to pull her back into range. And then she's got her cloud of invis.
First round.
I found my
Yes.
question on Instagram. My question on Instagram wasn't even about League, it was about Genshin.
Jesus.
It
This
was,
isn't against the podcast.
the
so-
co-
This is just a Q&A podcast, so we'll have to answer it eventually, probably.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Just all of
literally
the questions
posted-
so far have been about Lee.
Yeah, I posted that you can ask about anything. You could ask about any of our games or any one of us.
Dark, you were about to speak about playing Zed.
Well, okay, just being all out, like basically a Yasuo main, I wouldn't really call him a bruiser or anything, but more of a fighter essentially, because that's what he is. For me being well diverse in every other lane as well as jungle itself, the reason why it's so hard to play assassin champs after maining a lane, it's like you said, it all comes down to the point where your tankiness and you're resistant to somebody, or it's just like, you know, you feel like you're more powerful and you can chunk. Like Set, for instance. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're playing Set top and you go into like a mid lane playing Katarina and try to learn a Katarina. You know, I know it's still in the same concept, but like think about it. You're used to Set being able to pull and having like that W as a backup when he hits like, you know, the critical point and just gain a massive shield bonus for his health and everything. And just the true damage that he gets off of. As for Katarina,
I'm
you know,
very confused as to what you're trying to point out here.
no, like like you said, I'm referring it back to how you said that you're used to like a tankier champion to like actually chunking to switching over to an assassin that doesn't really like you can't play like that.
I wasn't saying that like a tanky champion that can chunk. I was saying a tankier champion, like, you're more resistant to being chunked than an assassin is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean as well. Because, like, think about it. Set, for instance. I know what I'm saying. I know what you're telling me now, but, like, and I know what you're saying. But the thing is, that's what I'm saying still in this general sense. Think about it. The damage outputs between characters are different, and it comes down to skill and remembrance of what you're doing, the combos that you can remember what's inside your head and try to figure that out. But it's also the resistance. For instance, I'm an Ornn player. I play Ornn as well. You know, Ornn, Yasuo, Ryze. I play a lot of champions. You guys know that I'm a well-diverse person with every other champion as much as it can be. And
yeah, this insane man is trying to make the entire champion pool of League of Legends his personal champion pool.
I mean, what's wrong with that?
The Mad Lad here is actually accomplishing it way better than Chronic could ever hope to.
Okay, so guys,
got a lot to learn.
The next topic. What?
Well, we're not done with it. I'm not done with it real quick.
Fine.
Sorry, but no, like saying like from set into like, so let's say you switch from set. Let's say you switch from set to Katarina. Like you said, the resistance, the tankiness that you had with set, like you just don't have it anymore. Like let's change out set. Ornn into Katarina. Ornn, you could, this is a whole different thing. But like Ornn, he's resistant. He's got health. He's got armor. the tankiness in him to ways to withstand within lane. As for Katarina needs to play off of her skills. Like she needs to play completely quick and fast and very
and she needs to be very mobile. She needs to get in to poke and then get out because she's close range with her attacks anyway.
Exactly, and then
assassins have to be good at knowing when to trade and when to back off from a trade.
Mm-hmm. Like for Zeds, for instance. Like I'm not a great Zed to say this all too well, but I could say it just more complimenting for all Zed mains.
This is where we call in celebrity guest T1's Faker.
Yeah, but
just a sidebar, guys. In the footage, we a few seconds ago, it showed an instance of Chrony ulting for no reason and getting himself killed.
Yeah. So, but anyways,
yes.
Zed is amazing. I love the fact that he can just come in, poke, and just leave, and he can fool a lot of people depending on how you play your skills. And that's what I like about Zed. You can fool a lot of people thinking you're going one way, but you have a setup somewhere else, and when they try to attack you, you're gone already within an instance. Going to an assassin type based character is a little bit harsh on you because you're used to either tankier stats, playing more safe.
You're used to not having to watch your health as constantly watching your health and making sure that you have enough for trades. With tanks, you have a bit of leeway because you're just I have enough health that 100 health, 200 health ain't gonna matter. With an assassin
positive
Zed or Cat,
played 5 times
every
already.
bit of that health matters.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways,
with Zed, it's a bit different because his passive healing.
But to just put it in simple terms, to conclude this topic, it's just all about how you used to play and how you have to get used to that character. It just comes down to basing off of what you can do and what you can't do. But anyways, the next topic.
The next topic was sent in by Spiky, which was about...
It's not even a question, it's just a topic. Supports in the jungle.
Exactly, we could talk about the topic.
Shouldn't be a thing.
What supports in the jungle can work. I mean, think about it. I mained Lux jungle long before it was a thing.
But
I also play Morgana in the jungle. I mostly play supports in the jungle.
This is where I gotta be kind of counterintuitive to that. Supports in the jungle should stay out of the jungle, honestly, in my opinion. Because I'll get down to the point right now with that topic specifically. jungles and like or supports in the jungle makes fine things for like mediocre fun, and let's say you're just ranking up for bronze into silver and you're trying to play mediocre, or of course it's going to make other people mad and very upset. But the other thing is that it can work or can't work, but it can only work at like low elo levels as it is. But while you play in a higher elo setting, or let's say you're playing against, you will get killed because like let's say they're actually playing Kha'Zix. Okay, for instance, Kha'Zix into a Lux jungle. Both are jungling. Kha'Zix sees a Lux jungle. Yeah, he's gonna.
Can I just say something real quick?
Go for it.
I'm just going to overarch everything that you're trying to explain a story here. Supports are squishy. Assassin junglers are very popular. You can't have a support jungle into an assassin jungle. You can barely have a support jungle into any other sort of jungle aside from another support jungle. But a support jungle into an assassin jungle, the support gets one shot every time because they don't have the health and tankiness that other junglers do. Or just the ability to counter the assassin jungle.
And the other thing is what I've noticed. Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, sorry. It's just that with Lux jungle, like say Kha'Zix or Nocturne finds her, all they have to do is dodge her Q and she's done for. Like
exactly.
She has no other. If Lux misses her Q, that's her only good escape because
And then now here's another thing. Like like you said, you can play mediocre like that, but I wouldn't say you'd have to play you can't be playing that within like ranked consistently because it's not viable. And plus, even at lower elos, it makes it a little bit harder for all players like wanting to climb because like solo duos obviously are for people that just like to heck with it. I want to climb. I want to like get to the highest spot possible. I want to beat my friends, or like I want to try and impress myself. I want to see if I can reach my goal and so forth. And that's how ranked solo duo is. So like I wouldn't really continue to do that, but like ranked flex or something, you're playing against higher elos and so forth and whatnot in ranked solo duo. But that's like a good practice in some way to figure out how to play. You can try to play mediocre, but it's not. Overall supports in jungle is just not really a great thing overall within League. If you're just playing to have fun with friends and such, then go for it. But like as for like anything else, I wouldn't do it.
My whole thing is, guys, if you play a support in the jungle, you just for at least 2 or 3 games, you will be a better support because you will get so used to kiting the jungle camps and knowing how to use your skills and your mana. It's a good practice.
So what Ani is recommending is for support players, people who play supports that can be taken into the jungle, like in a norms game, just to try it out. Do so for a couple of matches, and you'll be a better support for it from just learning how to kite better, from having to actually kill the jungle camps and such.
Exactly.
Actually,
that
is
helps
good.
With going in
and that's why we're saying to do it in like drafts or blinds, not ranked.
Yeah,
ranked.
But like no, it's just a whole topical in general. That's why I'm just explaining that. It's not set. It just said supports in the jungle. Like it doesn't. So, but
not to mention, at a certain elo, people get good at dodging skill shots because I know there are times in lane where
it's not even at a certain elo. It's kind of just
against like a Lux or something. They throw skill shots, and I'm literally just walking around all of them, and they're just having a hard time.
Which comes back to what I said. If you play a support in the jungle, you have to be very careful about throwing your stuff out because that is usually how you engage for a gank. Like, personally, when I play Lux jungle, my ganks start with my Q and then my E.
Well, true, but to go against your point there with kiting and such, I'd say you should just learn that mid, honestly. Like, let's say mid Lux, or like you say, play Vigar mid. Like, I still feel like you can still understand how to kite in mid lane. It's going to be a new change-up for like the support to figure out how to kite and such.
But the thing is, playing in the mid lane, you're going against assassins from the get-go. Things like Katarina and Akali.
That's the point. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. You learn to kite early.
To the point that you won't get the chance to even kite.
Oh, honey, that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it. Like, you're playing against assassins and players that you think. Because think about it. Understand, from me being a well-diverse player against every other lane, and you guys play, like, what, a selected amount of lanes, not all of them.
I play every lane except for ADC.
Exactly my point. That's exactly my point. The way you learn to kite is how you play your game, and the way it's just, you move back. Teemo's a great example for top lane. You can't just fall in with Teemo. No, I know what you're saying. But learning supports in the jungle still isn't really that good. You're
No,
not
I'm
gonna learn how to
not.
kite.
Oh my god.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to say? Go for it.
In my
Say it.
experience of this entire time that I played League, I don't see supports kite. Putting a support in the jungle forces them to learn that kiting is a thing that they can do. Not necessarily that they learn how to kite properly in the jungle, just that they learn to kite to begin with.
That's the problem. If you put a new player within, like, you know, into jungle with the support,
oh my god.
No. This is a whole topic, is what it is, Holland. It's not set specifically in one area. I know where you're going with this.
No, you don't.
Not all supports know how to kite. Understandable.
Most
There's always
don't,
supports.
it seems.
Most don't at all. Exactly. They just stand there and they take the hits. That's all they do. I understand where you're going with this, but my main concern is why learn supports in the jungle in the first place. Yeah, it teaches you to kite, but like you can learn that within a different lane. Again, Vigar is another example. Mid-Lux is a thing. You have to kite, and you can't really do anything with anything else.
Without skill shots too.
I'm just saying that the efficiency rate between you learning support jungle and learning like somewhere else like mid with a Vigar or a Lux is a little bit better than rather putting yourself as a support or anybody else as a support in the jungle to learn how to kite. Because think about it, you're not always going to face a low elo or like something like a new Kane or like a new Nocturne or anything. You're going to be versing players that when they see like a mediocre where you're not supposed to be player, they're going to go in all the time. It's going to make the experience less fun. It's going to make the experience less, effective.
Which is why
to figure out what you're
Hollow
trying
said
to do.
to try it in blind or draft, because you're going up against other players.
No,
who would be
even
trying
not even
stuff.
blind and drafts. That's what I mean. I'm not saying in ranked. I'm saying in general. Because think about it. How many players do you know that can play like a Lee Sin that can literally assassinate everybody? Everybody knows that once you see a Lee Sin, you either know that they're really, really good, or they're just barely learning him, and it takes some time.
Or they saw Fate.
They're either good or they're shit. And it's
Exactly.
one or the other with Lisa. It's
Exactly.
just the way of things.
That's what I'm saying. Now, what I'm saying here is that I'm not saying in ranked. I'm saying in all general. I don't think jungle supporting is going to help you help you that much as kiting. It will help you with kiting, but not as effective as you want it to be. I feel like you're always going to lack luster in that area of trying to kite. I prefer if you, let's say, players that are learning mid lane, Annie, for instance, or Vigar. Like I said, I've been saying Vigar this whole time. Think about Vigar. You put up a big old bubble, like a big old circle around him, and you can just walk away. Like, you can kite him into you. You can set up a bubble for your teammate to gank. You're kiting, you're baiting yourself. That's where the mentality sets in, I'm kiting. And for like a Lux, let's say Vigar switches back into their main Lux. Lux will be standing there and, going in and then coming back out. She will learn how to throw her E out more, and then probably trying to predict where they're going to be pathing. Because mid lane is for my sake, is the best at figuring out how to predict your shots mainly. ADCs have to do that a lot. It's switch to ADC a little bit. It's skill shotting, I just don't think it's efficient. I don't really...
We're not saying it's efficient, Dark.
Guys,
we're just talking about the experience of supports in the jungle.
I think we should wrap up this topic because we have a few others, and this is a whole thing. We should make a video about this. Leave a comment below if you want us to make an entire video about this.
We will anyway.
Before we end this point, I just want to give some examples of supports we've seen in the jungle, and I want to start with an example from the person who asked this question, Spiky. Spiky decided, hey, I'm going to play Senna jungle.
It worked.
It worked amazingly.
It didn't. It worked because everyone else on his team played well enough that his lack of damage and attack speed and everything that a Senna normally has, or would have depending on how they built, they don't have it. Your Lux jungle, Ani, I feel like it does about the same amount of damage as your support, but you have a lot of experience on it.
My Lux jungle, as I've said before, she has a very bad early clear. Before she hits level 6, she is not going to do anything for anyone. But
It's almost
later
as
in
if
the
she's
game,
not
she
missing.
becomes great because the random stuns and the random semi-global ults coming from the bush is scary.
These semi-global ults, I think, barely goes up the entirety of mid lane.
So the thing is, honestly, I'm the only one that played Deluxe Jungle for a bit. I've also experienced that and did that myself.
Not for a bit, Dark. It was his
named
thing.
it. That is literally what I learned Lux on. I didn't play her support or in mid. I played her jungle. Same thing with my Morgana. I don't play them support or mid.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
learning how to do that now.
The thing is, I wasn't learning how to learn that now. Like, the thing is that you guys know me well enough to already determine after playing a few matches within a certain game, I could pretty much tell you exactly what's right and wrong here. That's what I'm really here for, honestly. You know.
Yeah, but
like the thing is,
okay.
that is like I'm not missing that out.
We're moving away from why or why not supports in the jungle. We're giving examples of supports in the jungle that you've seen in the jungle in your matches. That you're just
but
like,
still,
why is this here?
Supports in jungle should just really be a thing, though. That's just my final conclusion. They should just not be there at all.
Yes, but what have you seen? You're not answering the.
What I've seen, okay, for instance, like Ani, for instance, he's playing Lux Jungle. There's a couple of times where I played with him with Lux Jungle. There's a few times.
No, shut up!
What are you saying? Clarify. What do you mean?
Just supports that we've seen in the jungle. Not specifying anything in what we saw of them in the jungle, just different support that we've seen in the jungle.
So far,
I've seen Alistar.
I've seen Lux, Sona, Alistar. I've seen Thresh. I've seen
Brand.
Blitzcrank. Brand. I've seen Seraphine go jungle. I've seen a lot of supports go jungle in my time. Remember, Holland, I'm experienced. I play a lot. I know exactly what everything's going.
Yes.
Morgana jungle as well. Morgana jungle. But still, like, there's only a few supports that can play mediocre like that.
You're trying to go into an explanation of things. I'm just trying to get a list of different supports we've seen that have been, like, funny and stuff.
It's not
okay,
really
we're just moving. Shush. Let's move on.
Okay, what is the next topic?
This is another question. This is another question from the first person. We do buff when?
No
answer.
Udyr doesn't need a buff. Udyr needs a full
level 2.
He needs a rework because honestly, in this day and age, all 4 of his skills are just auto attack based. He's defeated by like 2 items.
And Shen could beat the crap out of him.
Actually,
he needs
like
a rework.
I mean,
I don't think
really powerful, but at the same time, if he doesn't scale good.
The concept of Udyr is a strange one, and it's not going to be gone into detail here, but just the question, Udyr buff when? The answer is no. Please, God, no.
He 2 shots at level 2.
Shush.
Okay, some other questions that we're not probably going to answer right now. How do you get good? You play more. How does one play jungle? That's an entire video topic. That is a whole video.
That's an entire
I'm gonna
Dark. That's a question we're not answering here because that would take up an entire video.
Jungle. Not for jungle. For how to get good. How do you get good? It's simple as Ani said. Play more matches, and if you have to, study patterns. Study what you win against and what you don't win against. Because the last thing you really want to do is not know who you're playing and just keep trying to all in and just lose continuously.
Also, you need to know when to go in and when to back out.
Exactly.
There are times when going in is actually the right thing, and some people, Chrony, just run away.
Listen, Ani. Whenever I die, half the people
Chrony has run away from a full support Yuumi as a Shen.
When did that happen? Pull up the footage!
I will find that footage and I will make an entire video about it.
But anyways, just in general, how to get good, just learn your matchups, learn how to lane, to freeze the wave, and that's it. Like, that's all you really need to do. Stick with one character for a while before you move anywhere.
Chrony.
Okay, another question that I think is an entire topic of a video on its own is how do we think Riot's going to change characters in meta from this point onward? Little bit of a lighter topic. which champion should be removed from the game, and why is it Kog'Maw? Well, you answered your own question in the question, and also, why is it Kog'Maw? What? What?
They need to do something about Heimerdinger. Because Heimerdinger encourages lazy play. You just sit with your turrets and lane.
Not really. Heimerdinger, if you don't know how to play him and how to place your turrets, people will just kite around them and get to him, and he is squishy.
Yeah, I can have a similar experience with that as the also. If you're a lazy player as a Heimer, it just makes you lazy to play Heimer at all. And honestly, you're just kind of screwed if you don't pay attention at all. Like, it's like, if you're bored, then don't play the champion, play something else.
A lazy Heimer is a bad Heimer. Like,
exactly. It's just, there's no
Heimer does not encourage laziness. Okay. If you play Heimer and you get lazy, for the rest of your league career, you're not going to fix that. Next question.
The next thing is just the word Teemo. Why? Because Teemo.
Teemo is Teemo, and that is all. No, nothing needs to be said. Teemo is Teemo, and League understands that Teemo is Teemo.
Teemo,
he's banned in Earth.
As much as people don't want to admit this, Teemo is probably one of the most perfectly balanced champions.
No, not perfectly balanced. It's just that Teemo, especially in Season 10, I noticed, he fits so well. He just synergized so well with so much of, like, items and runes and everything that it was ridiculous. Teemo was basically the ideal champion for the way that for synergies.
Teemo could do no wrong.
You want to know what's like?
No.
I was thinking.
Next topic. This one.
Oh no.
This question is from me, but this could also be an entire video. Are the 2020 champions really that broken?
No, I disagree. They're not.
That's actually pretty fair. You just have to know how to counter.
I would also agree. The 2020 champions, they were all. We have to admit, they were all.
They were all broken at some point.
But
except for Lilia.
Okay, Lilia is broken within PvE. I'll be honest. I'm gonna explain a little bit on this and shed a little more light on this. 2020 champions are not broken. They're broken when they're released. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's the only time they're broken.
That's the same with any champion that's just been released or like gone through a total rework because they're overtuned.
They're either broken or they're either extremely weak. Like
for instance, Yone. For instance, I'm gonna get to Yone first. When Yone was released, they really debuffed his ADE ratio on his W. Like, they really debuffed that big time because he was super strong in PvE. He was super unfair. Everybody, like, I even played Yone when he was coming out. Because Yone was, like, the person I always wanted to play when he was coming out when I heard about it. Like, I was happy that they're bringing Yasuo's brother in, and I wanted to see how he played. But just, Yone in general was broken in PvE, and it's just like every character, when they get released, they either get a debuff when they actually enter the game, or they're going to be considered to have, like, a debuff, a nerf.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, just they're not really broken. It's just learning how they play.
They've all been broken at some point in their development.
Yes, but then again, it's just also like the players don't have a knowledge. Like, let's say there's a few players that'll play PvE. Not many would because they don't have that honor level or anything to get into PvE. But once they do, they don't even think about it or they've forgotten about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But overall, 2020 champions are not broken at all. It's just learning the matchup is all it is. It's just relearning something. It's just learning something new. That's all it is.
Okay, so next question is from Joe again. Will there be a new Void champ in the future? That is not a question that we actually know the answer to, I don't think, is it?
No, we don't know.
The answer to that. Well, I'm not sure if the champion is still coming out, but there was a leak at the start of this year about a new champion called Park C. Park Z is supposed to be a new Void champion who would have the unique ability to interact with monsters.
So
honestly,
what do you mean by that? Unique?
So are we saying like he's going to be like a familiar summoner, or like we're thinking about more along the lines of...
He would be able to absorb champions and not champions. He'd be able to absorb jungle camps, and based on what he absorbs, it would affect his skill set.
So basically, let's say, for instance, if he gets
It would be like a Kane form change, kind of, except for it would be to his
Yeah.
entire kit, depending on what the last thing he absorbed was.
Basically, and the
So
thing
let's say
is,
you
Okay,
depending on
that's
his
an interesting
level,
concept.
depending on
That's
his
a very
level,
interesting
would be how big of a thing he could absorb. Like before level 6, he'd only be able to absorb like wolves and raptors. Then from 6 to 10, he would be able to absorb Krugs, Gromp, Scuttle Rift. 11 to 15, he'd be able to absorb the buffs, and 16 to 18, he'd be able to absorb Dragon and Baron.
I said that'd
After
be
taking it down
not-
to a certain point, of course, it would be like probably just either a Nunu Q or a Cho'Gath piece sort of thing.
I feel like
Where
that'd
it
be a
would,
good
like,
con.
an
That
execute
sounds
of
like a good like kit to go off of. But I feel like there's gonna have to be a lot of consequences to that kit as well because
And
like
I feel like the kit wouldn't have that much variances, or it would have not
Exactly.
enough scalings
However,
to actually make much out of it.
We are not entirely sure if Park Z is a real, as it was just a leak that was never confirmed.
There is
It's just-
also the next question kind of springboards a little bit off of that, but if void creatures are created by the Watchers, then what is the point of having male and female void creatures? Are any of us actually well versed in the void champion myth?
No.
In the void
Kaisa.
champion?
So, I don't play any
Kaisa.
Void.
No,
Knights.
the
I play-
entire void champion lore.
Oh really? No, then not really.
Okay,
most
we
I know
can't
is Kaisa.
answer this. We
And
need Joe
Vel'Koz.
for this, but we don't have an answer to that question. I don't think.
We could skip that one, Hollowed, and we could skip the next one. We could skip that. We could skip that.
Can I mention what the next one is? It's funny because it's out of context, because the message it was replying to was deleted for being an answer to a previously asked question, because that's just getting rid of content for this. But the question was, when will you learn that your actions have consequences? It was asked in response to something. But the answer to that is, we will never learn that our actions have consequences.
Well, don't learn, don't teach them. That's the thing. That's why I teach these fools every day.
It's what he attempts to do. We
So-
lose the lesson.
The next
lose the lead,
actual question is Rise an OP mid laner.
Here's the thing, Rise, his ability power scales a bonus mana. He's a very excellent split pusher, like he can wave clear like nobody's
The answer to
business.
this question is no. Rise is not an OP mid laner. Why do I say this? Because they would not put an OP mid laner as one of the bots you learn to play against.
The thing he says why isn't is Rise an OP mid laner? No. But
And then the next question is, why isn't Rise an OP mid laner?
reason being is because he just scales. He scales okay-ish. I play Rise.
He
I played
scales
Rise
too
mid.
slow against the other mid laners. Assassin
Actually, I
forced him
played against the
down.
Rise. I played against the Rise that knew how to play against my Akali, and I got beaten by Rise. For
But that
Rise
is
players,
that is like the 10% of good Rise players. But in general,
Exactly.
the champion himself is not inherently overpowered.
no, he
It's
kind of
just-
is. It just okay. Here's the thing. Let me explain on this a little bit more. It comes down to like I said. It comes down to learning that champion. That's all it'll ever be.
Dark. Any champion can be OP once someone
Exactly.
learns them and masters them. But is the
Exactly,
champion
that's what I'm
themselves overpowered? In this case, meaning overtuned? No.
Like Mordekaiser isn't overtuned. You have to know the player that you're going to
Exactly. Like, speaking of Mordecai, for example, everyone is afraid of fighting Mordecai because of his ult, top of
His passive.
I have played against Mordekaiser so many times with Volibear that I have learned to beat him within his ult as Volibear without using QSS or anything to get out of it.
Okay, first of all, the majority of Mordekaiser's damage either comes from him only hitting only you with his Q, or is striking his passive and chasing you down. You have to avoid that, and he's going to miss out a lot of damage.
Exactly. And as Volibear in his ult, I usually stun him and run around, running out the time limit of his ult. If you could waste his ult, he is forced to run away from you after, unless your life is low.
Unless you're Shen. I'm not kidding, by the way. Like, Mordekaiser is one of those champions that counters people like Shen.
Next question from Spiky. Why are
No, the
control
next
majors
question.
called lane bullies?
No, why are control mages now called lane bullies?
Because I'm gonna be honest. Because okay, now here's the thing. For knowing a control mage myself, I don't know a control mage. Like I don't play any, but I know someone that plays it. Control mages are very strong. Like it's stupid how like a control mage can get so strong, and you don't even know it until it's too late. For instance, we all know Daniel, right, guys? We all know him. Dark Harvest God, right?
Yes.
Kale literally is most likely a control mage. Cassiopeia, like, there's a whole list here. Control mages are bullies for a reason because they can build in a certain way or like in a diverse way, so where it's gonna make it hard for you to even play it at all.
Like Kale can build attack damage like AP or just
exactly, and then you're screwed. Like you don't know what to do. Like at that point, she's got basically everything in the game, and you're sitting there like, how can I like counter this? How can I do this? You just can't. You need your team. For instance, for me playing ranked, I've seen so many Kale carries before. Like I'm playing against those Kales. They're not impossible to kill, but they're just like very difficult to get off the whole rift. Like they're just impossible to kill at times. Like, because your team either doesn't know how to play against them or they're just fed.
You can't just there's a way to play against Kale, given the nature of her ult. Tower pushing her isn't exactly the smartest thing in the world to do. Not to mention she has a slow and empowered auto attack feature. And she can heal herself and her team, so she's excellent in team fight. Like if Kale's not the carry and the other carry's not the guy, she can just press R on dead. They can just go in the middle of the team fight.
Exactly. That is.
Okay, so we skipped over a question. This question was posed to Chrony by Tippy. Why are you gay?
Shut up.
No, literally, if you open up podcast QA, it's the GIF. You have to pay attention to the words above the right man's head.
I saw it. I skipped it on purpose.
I didn't want to skip it. It's a question posed to Ronnie, and it is a very, very serious question.
It is not. Moving on.
We're being very jokey.
Why does bot lane never help a drag?
But no. So Spiky asked the control mage's lane bully thing, and then he also asked, why is AD Kassadin still a thing? Well, AD Kassadin was kind of just Manamune incarnate.
Why is Kassadin a thing? Because if he doesn't get defeated early, he's isn't he one of those carry champions?
He's a scaler that can be a carry if he gets fed.
Yeah, but the thing is, Manamune isn't bad on him. The reason being is because every time he uses his ult, it consumes a lot of mana. Like the first one costs like 100, and then like the next one's like 150, then 200, and 250, and it keeps scaling higher each time you use it.
It's 100, then 200, then 400, then 800, and it maxes at 800.
Yes, 4 points to go.
Yeah.
No. Wait, yes. No. I think. But no, he asked why AD Kassadin is still a thing. I think AD Kassadin is going to be a thing as long as there is an AD tier item.
I feel like it's
honest to God.
To be honest, with this new season, you don't know. Because, like, there's a lot of things. For instance, Katarinas don't know how to play right now. Like, there's a lot of Katarina mains that already figured out, what to do on hit, There's just a lot of things you can't do anymore. Like, the main item that all Katarinas and Akalis used to use are all gone. Like, it's gone. Now they're all need to adapt. But, like, for instance, Professor Akali, I watch his videos too. I'm not an Akali main to say it myself, but I just play her just for the heck of it at times. But even him, he's found a lot of ways to already play Akali within this new season, because why he's experimenting as it is. It's just there's a lot of things that we don't know about preseason just yet. There's a lot of experience that you need to put within this game before we can actually really say those kind of questions or ask, like, why is it still a thing? Because there's a lot of players that had to have a huge switch up completely.
A lot of the top lane tanks, since Sunfire got reworked and some tank items are gone. Like,
yeah, some tank items are like gone because like they're mythics. There's mythic items like Duskbladed Drakthar. If you want that, it's a mythic. You can't get anything else. It's a mythic.
I want to bring that up in relation to the team up thing earlier. They took away Adaptive Helm, so now a lot of us top lane tanks got to like change our game. Like, how the hell am I going to counter this dude other than Spirit Visage?
if they kept Adaptafilm, I believe it'd have been a mythic because like Sunfire Cape is a mythic and the Locket of Solara is a mythic. There's a lot of things that they added new, different items are reworked. PD basically has Gwynzo's passive now, and Shield Bow has PD's old like passive now. Like the shield, like everything. Immortal Shield Bow, like there's a lot of things that you could do within League now that's more diverse.
We're getting very off track.
Yeah,
the question was, why is AD Kassadin still a thing? And my answer to that is because as long as there's an AD tier item, I think AD Kassadin will still be potential. Like it'll be at least, it'll exist in at least the theoretical. Like on paper, it could look fine, but in practice, it might be another thing. But I think the AD Kassadin will be a thing as long as there's an AD tier item. It just will be, because Kassadin scales off of mana, and Immune scales off of mana, hand in hand. But Crowny was stupid and asked the same question of earlier, which was, what will be the next meta? We're going to ignore that, because that was the same thing.
The next meta is just, like I said, it's preseason. Everything's different. You're gonna have to learn everything all over.
Okay, so we're getting into Kath's questions. Why is she not here?
Iron Catherine is joining soon, and so is Joe.
I mean,
Joe actually joined already. Joe is here. Hi, Joe.
I guess we could do.
What's up, dudes?
And
real quick, I want to do one of the questions of we could make an entire video out of it real quick. I'm just going to answer it very simply. And the question was posed from Spiky. Why does Crony think he's smart? The answer is he doesn't. He just acts like he is.
Hey, Hollow. Ignore dumb questions like that about Crony. All of them.
Aww, but I like them.
Ignore them.
Ignore what?
Yes, Master.
Oh, Iron Catherine with the question of saying which ADC is best.
Anyway, the actual questions. Iron Catherine asked, which ADC is the best to play right now with the new season's items?
I'm going to be honest, there's no answer to that right now, because there's just a lot of players that, like, for instance, Aphelios has a low win rate right now, because of, like, but I played Aphelios as it is already with Gale Force and such, and it's stupid, even with Immortal Shield Bow, it's dumb. If anything, it just comes down to learning the new season. There's no quite or big answer for that at all just yet, so can't really be answered precisely or even answered at all.
Okay. Follow. Next question was from me. No, the next question was from Iron again.
Wow.
If you want to start playing jungle, what champion should you start with? I mean, there's not really a straight answer to this. If you're looking for just an easy champ to jungle with, I'd say a tank, because you can't really go wrong with things in the jungle right now. Amumu's a pretty solid one.
Amumu's like the most solid of it you can get.
Actually, guys,
personally believe it is just your
honestly, from me, who mains jungle, I would say play someone like Yi.
And Yi is
very simple to pick up.
He's simple to pick up, hard to master, but he's one of the few tank junglers that I might recommend if you're not looking for a tank jungle to try
I wouldn't say Yi. Like, if you're starting to get into jungle, I prefer Amumu over it all, because, like, think about it. There's people that want it, like, hard and risky. For me,
a non-tank Dark. He's probably one of the few non-tanks that I would recommend if you're starting out jungle.
And a non-tank would be Master Yi. The best one is Master Yi to learn non-tank.
That's what I was saying.
Amumu would be the best tank, and Master Yi is the best non-tank.
But, like, the question is, though, if you want to start jungling, what champion would you start with? Now, the simple answer to that is depending on how you want to play. Let's say for instance, you want to play safe, you just want to get, like, eased in, then Amumu, for instance. But if you want to go all out and try to do your best, then Master Yi, Evelyn was my first one, and then, like, I was like, my first jungler was Evelyn. And I was like, I want to be aggressive, I want to have fun, I want to see how Evelyn works. And,
my first jungler
later,
was
so forth.
Nocturne. That was not a good idea. Nocturne is not a first champion to start with.
He's very aggressive, and
if anything, if you're looking to like just the simple question, like the simple answer is like the simple answer here is like if you want to get into jungle, just ask yourself that question. How do you want to start in jungle? Do you want to be eased into it, or do you want to go all in?
The best person to start with if you want to learn jungle is Yuumi. Hands down, Yuumi. Yuumi jungle.
No. Get out of here, Ani. Not with that. Not with that.
Just be a cat in the bush.
Nah.
Oh God.
That's the worst thing you can do.
If you're wanting to be a cat in the bush, then be Rengar.
At least he does something.
Okay, and I guess this will be our last question, which is my question, and also because we're starting to go over time. Why are Yordos OP?
I would be honest, they're not OP.
They're not always, but there are some of them that are just, why do they exist this way?
Let's list some of the OP Yordos. Teemo, Fizz, Heimerdinger.
Listen,
Ziggs's tower destruction is ridiculous.
Tristana.
He's just... oh God.
Are we forgetting to tank Poppy?
Poppy isn't OP. She's actually more balanced than the rest of them.
Poppy's kind of good.
Extremely tanky.
She's good,
Poppy's
but she's
kind
not
of good, but she's not like super OP. By like, she can just delete champions.
Her job isn't to delete. Her job is to not.
Honestly, not all Yordos are OP. I'd say maybe just a small amount would be, because like for instance, Teemo is like you said, not really like he's balanced but not really balanced. Teemo with that Q is really dumb.
Teemo is balanced. Teemo is determined by level 6. If he is ahead by level 6, he will carry in the late game. If he is behind by level 6, he's probably going to be eaten.
Unless he gets a shutdown after level 6.
He's dead.
Exactly.
And to Mordekaiser, it's kind of dependent on how good the Mordekaiser is. If it's a horrible Mordekaiser, then the Teemo wins. If they're experienced with Teemo.
If Mordekaiser knows how to use his W to negate the blind damage, then yeah, Teemo's kind of screwed.
Also, Teemo into Garen, that is a very tricky matchup because Teemo counters Garen and Garen counters Teemo. They counter each other. It all depends.
In some ways.
It all depends on the player's level of skill.
Once Garen hits 6 and he's good, Teemo isn't a champion because Teemo's just going to do a stupid blind. Garen can press his W, negate the damage, chase Teemo down.
Yeah, but if Garen's never had enough health to actually engage on the Teemo because the Teemo's poked him out too much, and the poison prevents the Garen passive taking effect very quickly, then the Garen can't really start that chase. So it's kind of just a weird matchup.
Not to mention, a smart Teemo going into a Garen would build Morelos as his second or first item.
That's very true as well.
Because you want to deal with Garen's healing. Once Teemo deals with Garen's healing, Garen loses to Teemo.
Yeah, but the problem it is
not
now,
really.
I'm gonna be honest, but you can't really say that now anymore.
Hold on,
because
why
like,
do I have to
well, with the new
name again.
Just okay. Hold on. Before we get into that one, the reason why I'm saying that is like we can't really get into the subject too easily anymore because like you need to learn everything all over again. It's just new items are screwing everybody over. Like, you know, everybody has to learn it all over. You know, there's a lot of things you just need to relearn, and that's all there is to it.
They changed my Tiamat.
Oh,
just
what?
build Kama, dummy.
Adapt.
Dude, I play at least 2 champions who need a Tiamat.
Those to adapt.
Tiamat doesn't have an active anymore, so what?
Actually, I never really use the active. It's more of like a if you need to wave clear real quick.
Tiamat's
You do realize that Tiamat still does the wave clear.
Wait, what was the active on Tiamat?
It doesn't have the active. The active was just the spiral around in a circle around you that did damage to like everything around.
Oh.
And to be honest here, Tiamat now within this new season 11 is pretty harsh.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if I wanted to be honest, I think Tiamat's at the, I guess you could say at the pinnacle of its youth, essentially right now. To be more, yeah. So let's say if Tiamat had a life, Tiamat back then in season 10 and previous before wasn't really. It was great, like Tiamat
an embryo.
like it's an embryo. Like But like Tiamat now, it's like at the pinnacle of its youth, where it's the most OP item you can have. So like, but
I mean,
that's just how it
especially
is.
because it works on ranged people, which it shouldn't, but it does.
Exactly.
Good going, Riot. Q.
That's why Urgot's more broken now than ever. Urgot mains and Urgot players are enjoying the new Tiamat buff
No,
to it.
here's how you counter Urgot. You just press the attack and wait for him to use his stupid E. I'm not even kidding. Dark.
Yeah, but then again, this is like the main thing though. Like I said, it's season 11. You can't think like that anymore. You gotta just think about it. Me and Daniel, like this is getting off topic a little, but or not a little, but a lot. Me and Dark Harvest God.
Before we do anything, can we go through the outro before you start having this discussion?
No, it should be addressed a little bit more. Because, like, think about it. Like I said, this new preseason 11, we could end it after this, or whatever you guys want to say last.
Yeah, no, we're just ending it at, like, a solid time if we end it right now, though.
Yeah, we end it now, and we
time.
discuss...
It's a really clean time if we end it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, if you guys don't do that, that's fine.
We have other podcasts. We have future podcasts to discuss everything.
Yeah, true. Well, alright. I guess we could just discuss this in another podcast then.
Yeah, let's not be a bunch of muffins, okay?
Okay, guys.
I like you all.
I know you know what I'm referencing.
Guys, let's just do the outro.
Alright.
Okay.
So, thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and until next time.
If there's a next time.
There's the next time.